Good morning, beautiful people, lovely souls. So, I am talking about commitment today. And the reason that I'm talking about it is because we've reached May. We just passed Beltane, which in the ancient cultures was the time to clear out all the crap out of your house that had been collecting up over the winter. So, they sharpened their shovels, they did all of that kind of stuff. Then they cleaned out. And this was a yearly commitment. What happened was that the entire community would get together and they would do this in unison. That's what community means. Kum is with, unity is togetherness. So that's community. So they made this commitment to honor the cycle of the year. So we make commitments, but oftentimes they don't have anything to do with the cycle of the year. They don't have anything to, they're not grounded anywhere. So I'm curious about, how do you make commitments? Who do you make them to? And who is the person that you keep them most to? Is it yourself? Because oftentimes it isn't. We commit and then we don't do what we say we're going to, and we don't do it for ourselves. Okay, so that wears away at our confidence, because if I don't keep my word to myself, but I keep my word to you and you and you and you, then I become less valuable than you. So that chips away at my self-worth. And when we do that, when we say, I will do this, and we make a commitment to someone else, it's oftentimes easier to keep that commitment to someone else. So today is the midway between spring equinox and summer solstice. Now, way back, hi Anita, way back in December, we started to think, Linnea, hi, lovely to see you. Hope you're well. So way back in December, I'm before I start that, I'm talking about commitments today and who we keep them to and who we don't. And to really get in right relationship with yourself about whether you're keeping your commitments to yourself. And as you go through this process, in December, we do this thing where we go, oh, I'm going to make these resolutions. And then about February, late December, we do that. February, they start to fall away, right? And here we are. Now we're just past Beltane, where it's that rite of clearing everything out of your house, getting that energy of fertility, new seeding, that all up. And here's how you can use this for yourself right now. Make commitments to yourself. Seed something. After you seed it, then you have got to tend to it. You watch, it takes a while. It takes maybe a couple of weeks for it to germinate and poke its little head up. But you don't just walk away and go, oh, like, I hope you get along okay. You keep tending to it. And I think this is one of the places where I know I have been remiss in continuing to tend to the things that I said were important. Now, if I say they're important to you, chances are, because I don't want to let you down, that I am more diligent about that. But today I'd like you to think about that. Think about some commitments you made in January, because we're all like, oh, I have to have a resolution. So a resolution is a resolve-ution, right? So you're resolving something that you already solved. So go back and look at those resolutions that you made. Are you still keeping them up, or are you not? Can you decommit from some? And what that does, it's not you just sloughing it off. It's not just pushing it over there in the corner. It's you coming back and consciously looking at a commitment you made to yourself, because those commitments in those New Year's resolutions, you make those to yourself. And sometimes you talk to them about you talk about them with other people, but these are commitments to yourself. And every year, for however many years you've been walking and talking on the planet, you've done this. You've also done this thing where you haven't kept your word to yourself. So take a breath on that, because we don't think about that. We don't turn commitment into keeping my word. So my suggestion to you is that today you look at, where do you commit to yourself and continue and keep that commitment? Where do you commit to yourself? And just use this year, because there's no point backtracking any further than, I mean, we're already in May, so just backtrack this year. And look at the commitments that you've kept to yourself and the commitments that you've kept to others, maybe. That's a good balancing thing. Then when you get past that, look at your beliefs that are underlying those things that you didn't keep up with, because there's something in a belief there that's holding you back, that's not allowing you to keep your word to yourself. There's no shame in this. What there is awareness. And with that awareness of knowing, oh, I didn't keep my word to myself, you can go and you can see if that is important to you still. If whatever that was, hi Jessica, nice to see you. So if whatever that was that you committed to is still important, keep your word to yourself. If it's not still important, decommit from that. And it's actually stepping up, maybe getting in front of the mirror and saying, I decommit from whatever it was. Recommit to the things that you're still doing or that you are willing to pick up again. And then here's a third step. I want you to look at the underlying beliefs about what you decommitted from, because there's something in there. They were important over here. Okay, so here's January right here, right? And here we are, we're in May. So something here is no longer firm for you. It's no longer holding your attention, but there's an underlying belief. So I'd like you to look at that underlying belief. What's the underlying belief? I always go for the car thing. So do I have a new car this year? Nope. So I look at the underlying belief. Oh, they depreciate the moment I drive them off the lot. Okay. So is that serving me? Does that amplify my life, or whatever the opposite of amplify? Does it lift it up, or does it depress it down? So if it lifts it up, I know that's belief that I want to continue. If it doesn't resonate, and listen to your body, just speak that belief out loud. The car drops $2,000 the minute I drive it off the lot. Well, that just seems silly to me now, right? But it wasn't silly to me when I was 16, and apparently it wasn't silly until this morning. So see how that is? Something can be silly in your beliefs until the moment it isn't. But if I don't examine that, if I don't use that part of me that says, there's more here and I'm missing something, your underlying beliefs are that from which you take action. I'm going to say that again. Your underlying beliefs are that which you take action on. Now, I just want you to know that I pay attention to the outside world. And as I'm sitting here talking to you, there's a street sweeper going past. So we have the ability, and when you listen to this, and you may think that is totally silly, but shamanism is built on the absurd. You do absurd things and they work out dramatically and differently in your life. So here we are, we're looking at beliefs and we're chucking some out, right? Because they no longer serve. They no longer elevate your vibration to the resonance you want now. Now, beliefs come in all shapes and forms. They serve us until they don't any longer. The beliefs that don't talk to strangers, well, if you want a life partner, it's going to be very difficult for you to find a life partner if you're not willing to talk to a stranger. Maybe that's why people don't stop and get directions, is because they're afraid to talk to a stranger. So think about the underlying belief about what it is that you haven't got that you want. use that information to think about, and this is a mental process, it's before the resonance. Think about, is that a belief that I want to continue to hold? Is it serving me? And if it's not serving you, it's not a belief that you need to hold on to any longer. So look at your commitments. What am I committed to? What are my beliefs about? Maybe it's your ability to continue to be committed to something. Who knows? I mean, because honestly, every single solitary one of us has completely different beliefs. We don't have the same perspective. You can stand right beside me, shoulder to shoulder with me, and you don't have the same perspective. And when you look at your perspective and other people's perspective, you come to understand that theirs isn't right or wrong, neither is yours. Theirs isn't right or wrong, neither is yours. Theirs isn't right or wrong, neither is yours. It's just a different perspective. So check out your commitments, the ones that you made at the beginning of the year. Are you still hanging in there with some of them? Can you decommit from some that no longer resonate? And can you pick up the threads of those that do? Look at the beliefs that no longer resonate, because those will be the simple ones. What about that don't I believe anymore? And then write that down. Figure out, is that belief serving me or not? If it's not, drop it. So commitments rely on underlying beliefs. Underlying beliefs are the way that we are in the world. So if you believe that you have something to teach, you have something to teach. If you believe you can, you can. If you believe you can't, that's true. That's very true. So you get to decide, but do it. Decide. Look at your commitments. Are they still valid? What's the underlying belief? Does that still serve you? If not, drop it and get a new one. So happy day after Beltane. Bliss everyone. And commitments, actions all come from underlying beliefs. So when you're ready to shift yours and you're ready to take those next steps to bring what you know about yourself, what is your truth into the world, and you want to do it in an entrepreneurial way, you want to step forward and bring your gifts out into the world and have that be your gift and you're receiving at the same time. Set yourself up as an entrepreneur. I've been doing this for 22 years and look, there's bliss, love, peace, and dream right behind me. That's my support, right? Got my back. All right. Bliss, everyone. PM me and let's have a conversation about where you are, what you're committed to, and how we can get you from where you are to where you want to be. You'll get the same results as I get my clients. Bliss, everyone. Bye-bye. And I just want you to know they're out there in their world doing their bliss and helping others. Love you. See ya. Bye.